almost there.
Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, we're going to be exploring the biggest muscle building myths. These are myths contributed by you guys in the community section. Before I get into this topic, if you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. The best topic ideas I turn into videos just like this. All right, a couple days ago in the community tab, I asked you guys to submit your myths, your muscle building or strength building myths. I have no idea what these say. We're going to dive into them. I didn't read them beforehand, so there's a little bit of mystery, all right? So here we go. Let's dive into the greatest muscle building myths as contributed by the Massive Iron community. All right, Delfina Martinez says, a myth I believed early on, you have to deload every 4 weeks, even if you're making progress. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I kind of took issue with programs like that. There was kind of this, I don't know, back when 531 came out, and I don't know its current iteration, so I'm not bashing on the program. But the concept that you need to deload every 4 weeks is it's just a waste of time. It's an absolute waste of time. For my clients, what we typically do is we will train hard for 3 to 4 months during a bulk, and then we will reassess. Is training going well? Do we want to continue for another month or two? Do we want to move to a mini cut? What do we want to do? So yeah, deloading every 4 weeks is just a complete waste of time. All it does is take 25% of your time away from the gym every year. Excuse me. And ain't nobody got time for that. All right. TJ, your split makes a huge difference to your results. This is something that people still believe. They've been conditioned and programmed to believe that split really matters. And in the long run, it really doesn't matter. The things that matter are consistency in lifting, consistency in nutrition, some form of progressive overload plan, a reasonable exercise selection, a reasonable amount of volume. All these are the pillars of success that I talk about in my book, Massive Iron. And people still want to believe that split matters, like somehow one is better than the other, or one is more magical. Really, it really comes down to just being consistent. So many people aren't consistent for a long period of time with progressive overload. All right, Yoshi, you need to do 12 to 15 reps and 4 to 5 sets with 1 minute pause all the time. And bulk to get big. Yeah, that's never heard this in specific, but I'll never rule out any of the information you guys are receiving. There's no magical set and rep ranges. There's no 4 to 5 sets of 12 to 15. Nothing is magical. There's reasonable, and reasonable will help us get there efficiently. What is reasonable? Well, not doing only 1 rep sets or not doing only 50 rep sets. A little bit silly, right? That's, just use common sense in this. All right. Obsidios is a bad name. Not sure if this is a myth, but I want your thoughts on this. It is that you will only gain around 32 pounds in your lifting career. No, that's absolutely true. It's going to be around 32, and this is something. I was one of the people that was first in, just because I'm so old when it comes to natural potential. But yeah, the study by Dr. Casey Budd of just over 300 natural champions really set the standard for natural muscle building. Generally, you're only going to, if you start at a normalized weight, you only have the potential to gain around 30 to 35 pounds of muscle over the course of your life. The honest truth is most people will never come close to 90% of that. So, again, this is from a normal, starting at a normal weight. If you're underweight, and you add weight, it's not just muscle you're adding bone density and blood and skin and all kinds of things. So definitely not a myth. All right, Obsidious goes on with another one, that a beginner will add 5 pounds to his compound movements weekly for 3 months or more. If a beginner starts at 115 on bench, that would mean they would be benching 170. Yeah, this is linear progression, and not linear periodization. Just to make that distinction, it's linear progression. It's one reason why I don't like linear progression programs. I've beat the drum against linear progression programs forever on this channel. I've taken a beating over not liking them because I think they're just silly. Some lifts adding 5 pounds every week or 10, in some cases, 10 pounds every week to a lift, it's just ridiculous. It's a lame way of programming. It's something that doesn't last very long. It's a poor way to try to program because it simply doesn't last. It's not sustainable, and it'll just car crash in no time for most lifters. All right. Let me turn that one backwards. Next one, big myth that prevented me getting into lifting early. Gaining any muscle will make you slow and flexible, and you'll have bad stamina and cardio. Yeah, I guess if we look at like the big muscle monsters in the world of steroid abuse, the sport called bodybuilding, but no, it doesn't make you slow. If anything, what I learned in my first 2 years of lifting is that improving my strength on the compound movements, it made my sprint speed dramatically faster. I was able to, my vertical jump increased. I was able to generate a lot more power playing baseball. If anything, it just makes you more athletic. All right, next one from a city house again. Excuse me, I just woke up and I can't stop doing that. All right, I know not too many people believe this, but if you look it up, it says the average man can bench press their body weight, considering the average male is about 200, which I think is a myth. It's probably more like 180. I don't think the average man could bench. No, the average man can't really bench their body weight, especially in this day and age. They could come close. I mean, if you look at weight times reps, if you take a noob into the gym, they're probably going to be able to. The average man, we're not talking about, the average 18-year-old. We're talking about the average man, because this is basically how it was phrased, right? So the average man could probably do 95 by 5 to maybe, I don't know, upwards of 135 by 5. So it's a little bit lower than their body weight if they were just starting out. And then you take into consideration, I think it's something like 5% of people have a gym membership and actually go relatively frequently. And of that percentage, how many are men? How many are men that are actually benching? Maybe 1% of the population. If you factor that in, the actual percentage that is lifters that actually bench is not going to change this much. So yeah, it's a little bit silly. Casey's Home Gym myth. We have been told our whole lives muscle weighs twice as much as fat. Yes, defying physics. A pound is a pound is a pound. Fat might take up more space than muscle, but I don't know. A pound is a pound, so definitely a myth. Joe Cowan. Somebody who builds muscle from strength-focused training will stay on them longer as they age than by pure bodybuilding. So someone who builds muscle, I got to read this again because this is a little bit silly. Someone who builds muscle from strength-focused training will keep the muscle longer as they age, opposed to body. It's the same thing, we all have to go through progressive overload. There's not two different tracks. You can't just build muscle by low rep sets. It doesn't work that way. You have to build a base. That's what this channel is for, power building, and that's just silly. Charlie. If your training session for hypertrophy lasts for more than 45 minutes, you'll produce so much cortisol that'll kill your gains. Yeah, big. I mean, this was pretty a pretty big paranoia back in the day. Almost as equal to the paranoia over body part splits these days. Oh my God, you can't do a body part split. Yeah, sure. Okay, pal. If you train more than 45 minutes, it used to be, just in fairness, it used to be if you train over 60 minutes, the cortisol levels will kill your gains. It's just stupid. These people, it's just scientific ignorance. It's like saying someone that, like anybody that plays a soccer game or a football game or runs around longer than an hour is somehow going to drop dead, and the body is such a fragile little thing. All these fake science or bad science things that frame the body as this fragile little thing are just laughable. Charlie went on to say higher reps are the way to become shredded. Yeah, that was a classic myth that to get shredded, you do higher reps. The only real benefit in doing higher reps is that it extends the set a little bit and makes the set a little bit more, your heart rate's probably going to go up because the set's never ending, and you're going to start breathing heavier and heavier and sweating more, and it'll feel like you're burning more calories. But, if you need to burn more calories, just eat less food or do some cardio. It's more efficient. Justin, weight on the bar is the only thing that matters. Well, it's not the only thing that matters. It's the primary thing that matters, but it also matters how you get there. There are no weak bodybuilders. Everybody's a lot stronger than they are now. So we always have to frame that properly. But, the problem with that is we have people chasing strength that are doing so and not getting enough volume, using too many low rep sets, not controlling the weight. You see this a lot on lifts. This is something I work with my clients. We try to control the weight. We don't just try to throw it around. We don't want to beat up our joints. And we also want to have a reasonable degree of control over the weight, which will help us have a little bit more tension, a little bit higher quality of a set. Obsidios, and I'm not sure how you pronounce your name, so I apologize. That skinny people cannot gain weight due to fast metabolism and that they eat a lot. Not true. Yeah, the most people that can't gain weight aren't really tracking it, and they think they're eating a lot more than they are. Definitely a myth. I was a skinny guy that had a hard time gaining weight. And really, when I was in college and I put a meal structure in place and stuck to the meal structure, then I started gaining a real quality amount of muscle mass and weight. Slimmy Shank, the split you use doesn't matter as long as progressive overload. If you do push-pull legs or upper lower, but both end up at a 225 bench for reps, and your chest will look the same. It's absolutely true. What split you use really doesn't matter. There's so many variables involved here. We have different life demands. Not all of us can just sit around all day long and train at our will. We have school, we have family, we have work, we have other things going on, and not every week is the same. I give most of my clients a flexible schedule, so there's some room for adjustment. We don't just say Monday is this day and Tuesday is this day, and you have to train the same thing every day of the week. That's just foolish. So, in the long run, it really doesn't matter. And how do I know this? Is this opinion? No, it's not opinion. I've been in the industry for a long time. I've worked with, you look at YouTubers, I've worked with so many, spoken with so many, worked with so many natural bodybuilders, worked with so many power lifters, and they all train differently, but they all arrive at the same place. And that's the important thing to understand. It's not the split that matters. It's, 90% of it is just showing up and working your ass off. All right, smart, simple fit. You have an anabolic window of time to eat after your workout. Otherwise, it's for nothing. Yeah, this is a classic myth. If anything, you want to kind of start the recovery process when your workout is done. Maybe get in some simple carbs so you don't feel like crap, but it's nothing critical. Casey's Home Gym myth. Keto diet burns fat fast. Yeah, it's more of a diet myth, not a muscle building myth. But, you have to be careful because Casey adds it's mostly water weight. I mean, everything we lose is mostly water weight, but that doesn't mean it's not, it's not from the fat cell. It doesn't mean the fat cell or your amount of fat isn't shrinking. Initially, any diet that you improve your food intake, you're going to reduce your inflammation or any water that you're holding, and that's not exclusive to the keto. The keto just tends to do that a little bit more quickly because it doesn't really have any carbs, and carbs tend to hold water in the body for a number of reasons. All right, Mark. Hitting everything 2 times a week is more optimal than bro splits. Yeah, this always triggers people. But look, I'm going to be honest. If this triggers you, you might want to just admit you're in a cult a little bit. You might want to just admit. You might want to just kind of. Somebody's going to get really mad and leave a comment down below you. Oh my God, bro splits are inefficient protein synthesis. Protein synthesis. Right? I mean. Relax, dude. You're in a cult. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And somebody asked me the other day on Instagram, how do you know? Right? How do you know that bro splits? Like everybody I've ever talked to prior than like 2013 used the body part split. So Look, I was one of the first guys advocating full body work, so don't get all bent out of shape. Most of my clients get frequency training, upper, lower, push, pull legs or something. So I'm not anti-frequency. You just have to understand that a bro split works. I know because nearly everybody I talked to prior in 2013, every body transformation, every bodybuilder, nearly everybody used it and they were highly successful. That's just reality. That's not my bias. That's just reality. Obsidios, that your strength will completely plateau as an advanced lifter. Well, it doesn't completely plateau. I mean, it'll definitely slow down. The rule is pretty simple, and this is pretty common sense. The stronger you get, the harder it is to add strength. The bigger you get, the harder it is to add muscle. Anybody that argues this is simply a fool or ignorant. It'll come more rapidly from the start, muscle and strength, and then as you have it, you're having to push the body to another level to build more muscle and strength. So the more you have, the harder it gets. It's not a plateau, it's just a natural slowing of the process and nothing to panic about. All right. This is a longer one. Right now, there's a bunch of bros close to their potential limit who flirt with dirty bulks to get things moving in. You can't get things moving again. You got to use the same rules that you've always used. You can't reignite gains. If you're close to your natural limit and you're doing a big fat dirty bulk, you're just ignorant. You just, at that point, if you get to 90% of your natural potential, you don't need to do a dirty bulk to expedite things. You're going to have to play by the same rules. You're just going to have to be a lot more patient. I got to probably 90% of my potential after 2.5 years of training. And for the next 10 years, I had to remain consistent and smart and to get that extra 5 pounds of muscle mass. He goes on to say, under the surface, there's always seems to be the idea that if you just find the right button to press, it's not true. It's just all about consistency and being smart and not punishing your body and being able to stay into the gym so you can actually see that last 10% out. Okay, Acidios again. That it is more efficient for you to recomp rather than bulking and cutting. This is something. There's not many hills I would go to war over or go to battle on, but this is one of them. Just trying to build muscle and lose weight at the same time. It's just a fool's game. It is, and there's always somebody that'll drop. I did this and then show us the pictures. Really, I've never seen the pictures of somebody recomp. More than a pound or two. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible to gain a pound or two and lose a pound or two of fat. It's possible, right? But nothing substantial. And in my opinion, it's just a complete waste of time. What I have my clients do, and if you want to check out my bulking book, and I'm not trying to turn this into a commercial, but what I have my clients do is we'll do a 10-pound gain over 3, 4, 5 months. Real controlled bulk, and then we'll do a quick mini cut of 10 pounds, which is super manageable. Let's be real here. So we gain 10, we lose 10, we gain 10, we lose 10, we gain 10, we lose 10. And over the course of 18 months, you arrive at the same weight. There's very little weight variance, but your body composition dramatically improves. And this is 100 times a more intelligent way and a more common sense way of trying to improve your body composition without getting fat. All right, next. The old body type specific workouts, mesomorph, ectomorph, and endomorph. Yeah, these are still being passed around by just predators. They're being passed around by industry predators who push these concepts because they know the general public doesn't know. They're just complete nonsense. There are no body types. There are no people there are tendencies, right? Some people are easier gainers. Some people are more built for strength, but the body's more of a complex combination lock than it is like there's only 3 classes. This isn't Dungeons and Dragons, right? You're not just a wizard or a meat shield or a cleric, right? You just pick your class. I'm a mesomorph, endomorph, and whatever. I'm an ectomorph, right? I'm a +5 acid blood motherfucker. All right, excuse me there. Matt Williams, that testosterone puts on 4 pounds of muscle in a month. Yeah, fat chance. Here we are, like months and months after the whole, waiting for the results. Somebody's going to drop a comment down below about how magic it was. All right, Daniel. Lightweight, higher reps for toning. Yeah, we covered that one. You need to eat 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight to build muscle. Yeah, these generic calculations I don't really care for. When it comes to calculating your nutrition, what we basically want to do is first make sure your fats are at least 20% of your daily intake. You need fats for your heart, for your organs, for your skin, for your brain, etc., etc. From there, for men, I tell them to set a baseline. Now, don't misunderstand this. I tell them to set a baseline of at least 150 grams of protein a day. And then we can kind of look at how many calories you need, try to raise that if we need to. 170 to 180 is a little bit better. For the average natural man, a minimum, like 150 is a red line. Don't go below that. 170 to 180 is better. If you like a lot of protein or you tend to do better with lower carbs, then 200, 220 is a little bit better. But we look at dietary balance. We look at, we have to look at things like budget. What can you afford? And we have to be reasonable, but there's also these things that float around like you have to eat so much depending on your body weight. Well, there's a lot of really large people out there, 260, 280, 300. And you can't just blanketly tell them to eat 300 grams of protein a day. Nicholas, cardio kills gains. Yep. This is just a silly fear. Just like all these fears are founded in the same kind of construct that the body is some fragile little thing, and if you don't, you got to do everything perfectly or else the body's not going to build muscle. The reality is we need to focus more on consistency in our training and nutrition. I played basketball for at least an hour nearly every day after lifting when I was young. There were no rules against cardio, and I was absolutely fine. I packed on plenty of muscle mass. Ben Fletcher. Certain exercises are inherently dangerous. Upright rows, behind the neck presses, Yeah, this is just more bullshit that gets passed around. The deadlifts are definitely an exercise you have to take seriously. A lot of bad form, a lot of form that needs work. It can really beat up your lower back, and we need to kind of make sure our deadlift form is on track before we beat the living crap out of our body. But all this fear over upright rows and dumbbell rows and leg extensions, it's just a lot of nonsense. There's not a lot of injuries related to this. It's just paranoia created by one lifter, one voice, and it just it's like a fart in church. It just kind of reverberates endlessly and never dissipates. Mark, you have to eat meals every 2 hours or take protein immediately after a workout. Yeah, I kind of grew up in this era where they taught you to eat every 2 to 2.5 hours. Now, what we know is that scientifically, and this is, I hate to use scientifically, but it makes more sense. It seems to be slightly better if we eat about 4 times a day, or eat at least 30 grams of protein 4 times a day. It seems to be better for the muscle building process. So let's be reasonable. We don't have to panic. We can eat every 3 to 4 hours. We can eat when convenient and throw in a snack. Most of us are going to eat meals and snacks anyway, so we might as well throw protein in just to be safe. All right. Morgan, turning fat into muscle. Yeah, that's a way old school myth, and we all know that's silly. Jojo, this is the last page. Jojo Bizarre, deloads aren't needed for bodybuilding. You can deload certain muscle groups if they need it. Don't need huge time off. Yeah, you don't need huge time off. Deloads are just it's something that entered the, how do we say it? The toilet bowl that is lifting, right? Somebody dropped a turd into the bowl called deloads, and people worry about deloads way too much. My philosophy on deloading is, if you feel tired, take an extra day off. If you got something coming up, a life event, you gotta take a test for school, or you get a little bit sick, just take an extra day or two off. If you're mentally fatigued, take an extra day or two off. Save time off for your birthdays and holidays and when you get sick. take the time away when you really need it. When your body's saying, I need an extra day of rest. When you're mentally under stress and you need an extra day of rest. When you're sick or it's your birthday or whatever. Horseman 322222. You can't build muscle with kettlebells. Well, you can build muscle with anything. It's just a heck of a lot harder with kettlebells. Not saying it can't be done. But it's like with calisthenics. Can you build muscle with calisthenics? Can you build muscle with kettlebells? Yeah, but you have to get pretty advanced at them. But you know what? You have to get pretty advanced at barbells and dumbbells as well. Carlos, saucy and controversial. You absolutely need high-frequency training to blast any appreciable, most certainly maximal and optimal amount of muscle mass. Fight me. Yeah, you don't need high-frequency training. You don't need to train 3 times a week. You don't even need to train 2 times a week. I've never really trained more than 1 time a week. So there you have it. Running is hard on your joints. What I found, like when I got into running, you know, I was a bigger dude, you know, like 250 pounds, and I got into running, and everyone's like, you're going to shoot your eye out, kid. You're going to get injured. Well, I never got injured. What I actually found out is that my years and years and decades of strength training actually strengthened my tendons and ligaments and connective tissue. And I never got injured. I never really, you know, other than falling on the ground or tripping over a tree root, you know, something that was accidental, I never really got injured. So I'm not saying that'll be the case for you, but lifting provides that kind of benefit when you do other forms of sports or activities. Physical activity usually a little bit stronger or healthier. And, you know, it's definitely not harder on your joints. One thing I will say is you don't want to really run on pavement. That's a little bit harder on your joints. Run on a trail if you can. And the last one from the French Ubermensch, muscle protein synthesis is the be-all, end-all. Good grief. Isn't this the argument? We can't just let go that muscle protein synthesis is the only variable that matters when it comes to muscle building. Yeah. It is not that's like going out to the forest, and there's like 3 million trees out there, and you're looking at one tree. And if you want to walk up to that tree and bury your face right on that tree and get so close to that tree that you can't see the whole forest and all the other variables involved in training, that's your right. If you want to dry hump muscle protein synthesis as the only variable, you'll have no issue building muscle. It's just that it's not the only variable that matters. And I appreciate you guys sending these questions in. So guys, hope this video has been of some help. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. If you made it this far in this video and have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I'd appreciate the support. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.